Fly Fishing America is brought to you by the next Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
The urge to migrate is one of the most elemental forces in the world and provides us with some of the most spectacular scenes in nature. Animals that have learned to move to optimal environments are the ones who have survived to continue their species. But the things that set men in motion have not always been so clear.
If you live in Massachusetts, you have to fish for striped bass. You look in the back of the fishing catalogs and you'll see destinations for trout in Montana and bonefish. Look in the back of the catalogs, you're going to see destinations in Massachusetts to fish for striped bass.
When the bass are on the feed, they're just so greedy, they'll slam anything.
There's been times where we haven't even been able to get out of the Eagle Hill River. There's so many fish feeding in there. 40, 50 fish days just aren't uncommon. And the other thing about striped bass fishing is you always have the chance for that 48, 50, 60-inch fish.
It gets the adrenaline going. Trout fishing is just a peaceful thing. Yeah, you get here when the big fish go, and you really get a rush going, and you rush to the next spot. The thing is, you want to catch a big fish.
The history of fishing in America starts with the history of the waters around Cape Ann, Massachusetts. Since the 1600s, men have been coming to this place to fish these rich but dangerous bays and inlets. For Dave, Con, and Mike, fishing the migratory striped bass when they appear off this rocky coast has been a story in itself, a story based around friendship.
I've been fishing for striped bass since I moved to Ipswich. It's about 14 years now. I'm a real rookie compared to the guys I'm with who've been fishing 40 years for striped bass.
I've been fishing for stripers since 1962.
Mike, everybody knows because he's so gregarious. He just goes up and talks to you.
I listen. I'm a good bullshit. That gets you through life,
And Con, everybody knows because he looks like someone you want to know, so everybody goes up and talks to him.
Well, I think fly fishing is an art. Your communication with the gods is the art of fly fishing. If you get lucky and the fish come by when you're there, that's the art.
I just kind of linger in the background and take it all in, but I've been so lucky knowing those guys.
Oh, the friendship is great. You can't beat that anyway. You get to catch a friend here that's just for life. You always catch another fish. You always want to catch a big fish, but the friendship is the most to me. You just go and you swap lies, and when other people you go and they ask you, I'll tell them whatever they want, but I won't tell them where I've been catching big fish. I'll tell them some spots where there are fish, but not at that particular moment. So everybody lies, but the guys I fish with, I'll tell them outright just where it is. What do you think, Con? There's a little rip forming right out front.
Yeah.
The rip is going to get better as the tide goes down. So we did it just above here. We did it. See the little dark spot?
Yeah.
Dark spot here for the drop off. So we'll try it there.
What time in the tide were we yesterday?
We were an hour and a half later.
I saw the rip forming.
What do you got on? Blouser or just a little streamer?
A mystery fly.
A mystery. Love it. I fish small flies, only 2 patents. Con ties up these flies. You open up his box, they look like party favors for an 8-year-old, all the color in there.
You owe me a nickel, dude.
Aha!
All right, look at that. First fish, second cast.
All right.
Climb right in the
8 inches.
Hey, Mike, about the same as yesterday.
Oh, nice fish. Nice
Tag
start.
'em.
Nice start there. You notice you jumped right in and took the hot spot.
Yep, you bet.
Was that fish on your first cast?
Maybe the second.
Oh.
I know, that's bad luck, isn't it?
Had so many of those days.
Well, you got to look for some current. That's when they're moving. They're chasing the bait. They'll come along the shore. The way I fish is, Coming tide, I'll fish up on the flats, real short water, and I'll just explore. Then on the dropping tide, I'll go where there's some structure. The fish seem to, lay up there, and we, just fish over it a few times, and you'll find a good spot. You'll catch 4 or 5 good fish.
Right out front here at the con, right on the drop-off. This feels like a decent fish, though.
Looks it.
Slow retrieve. Pull and drag, which is nice.
Giving you a good fight, huh, Mike?
Yeah, nice, maybe
Yeah.
20-something inches. Don't know yet.
And all of a sudden, they'll stop. The tide drops enough, and just the currents and everything, they change. So you move to the next spot, you look for the dark spots, the little holes in the ground, in the bottom. You peck along. And over the years, you know the spots where you fish, so if they're not here, you drop down, you know they're going to be coming. Even if there's no fish, there will be a couple that'll pass by.
Bring them over. How's that?
Nice fish, man. This is a little more aggressive, bigger rods, longer casts, bigger flies. It's great. Once you get into it, it's just wonderful.
Whose dog is this? You can laugh all you want. It took me a long time to train him for this.
Hey, hold them up for a second. Hold
Hey,
them up,
Cody.
let's see.
They're pretty, isn't it? Oh, God, they're gorgeous.
Nice fish.
Nothing anything better than that.
It
Oh, that's good. That's a nice fish.
wouldn't count for a record, though, because you had help from the dog.
Ford Division's Fly Fishing America is brought to you by the next Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By Scientific Anglers, the science behind your art. By High Drift Boats, the leader in design, value, and service. By Sims, manufacturers of quality waders, vests, and outerwear for the serious sportsman. And by Maverick Boat Company, fish the legend.
He got a message from Karpowitz saying Magnolia Beach is happening.
All right.
But he's got to make sure it wasn't from yesterday.
Well, the fish are starting to migrate. All the bait fish are going, and when they start to ball up on the beaches, you go to one beach. If they're not there, you go to the next beach.
The striper hotline.
The cool thing about the people that fish up here, we have a whole group, and even though we don't fish together, we all stay in touch, and there's a constant communication, either via email or phone. And
When did you see those fish? 8:30, it's about an hour ago. Where are you at now?
Mike knows a lot of contractors, and if they're working over in Magnolia or along the shore, he'll get a call saying, the bass are in Magnolia Harbor, come on down here. Or we'll get emails saying, I was here yesterday and I did nothing, or I was here the day before and I did great. You get a lot of reports, and then we do the same. We share a lot of reports. You drive along and you're looking for birds feeding or fish feeding or both, and if you see that, you stop and fish, and if you don't see that, you move on to the next spot, hoping you'll run into it.
Yeah, the birds will hover. They'll be diving. There'll be cormorants and the gulls, the terns. But there'll just be, sometimes you'll go to one of these places, you'll see 2,000 birds at a time.
A lot of big fish are caught right here in this cut.
Mostly it's bait, I guess. And I don't know how much anyone understands about bait movement. If it's just from being chased, or they have their migration patterns too.
Fish on.
Hey, how can you pick up a lone fish here and there? There's got to be other fish. There we go.
Ah, a little pull, feel a little better.
Mike, I didn't hear you say this sounds like a good fish.
This feels like a decent fish, huh? Small, but it's good. Another one right beside it, Dave. Cast right beside me, hook this one with it.
In the fall, when it gets to be late September or early October, through October, what happens is the striped bass, they begin their migration down to the Chesapeake. And what they tend to do is they tend to stay along the shoreline. They don't come up into the sounds and estuaries as much as they do during the rest of the year. Because they're really starting to move, and that's, you know, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So that's what they're doing. They're just following the coast. So what happens is, we start fishing the coast a lot more, but it's a gamble because you really have to drive along, and you're looking for blitzing fish. That's what we're looking for at this time of year. And sometimes we just spend the whole day in the car, just going up and down the coast, hoping something happens. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, striped bass are highly migratory on the East Coast. Most of the spawning, as you probably know, occurs in 3 major estuaries along the East Coast, in the Hudson River, Delaware Bay, and Chesapeake Bay, with Chesapeake Bay being contributing the largest number of striped bass to the East Coast. After spawning in the spring, which they do in fresh water, they tend to leave the estuaries and swim along the Atlantic coast and up towards actually Massachusetts. And Massachusetts is one of the kind of vacationing spots for striped bass along the East Coast. We have a large population of striped bass here during the summertime.
You tried to sneak that one by me?
I did. Because you'll
Decent?
come and stand next to me.
Feels like a good fish, huh?
Shoot. It's not a bad fish, man.
There are specifically 2 things that recreational fishermen can do to help striped bass. One is to use circle hooks, and the other is to shorten the amount of time it takes for them to get the fish to the boat, the play time.
Sure. Oh, nice fish.
Not bad, huh?
Oh, that beauty. Nice fish.
Historically, let's say back in the 1970s, early 80s, the striped bass populations along the East Coast dipped down to the lowest they've been in our recorded history due to several factors. One was being overfishing. There were some environmental concerns in Chesapeake Bay, like water quality. Turned out that it's probably overfishing that caused the decline. Once regulations came in around the 85, 86, the striped bass started to come back. There was really good recruitment of young starting in 1989.
Through the years, it's been quite a difference in the migrations of the bass, and we don't know how large they will be, but I think like 30 years ago, big bass were all around and everyone was catching them. And then they disappeared and no one knows quite why, so they started putting quotas on them. And the fish stock seems to have built up, and which is good for us because we've had lots of years where we just weren't catching fish, particularly the shore flymen.
Here they have a commercial season in Massachusetts. That's 36 inches and they have a quota they fill. A recreational can take 2 fish a day. Recreational fishes at 28 inches. But Maine, they have a slot limit, like from 18 to 24 you can keep, and anything from 24 to 28 to 30 you have to throw back, and they allow you 1 trophy fish. But I'd like to see that because I hate to kill a big fish, but I like fish.
There's a guy. Oh, you hot ticket. All right, sneak another one by me, huh?
That's right.
Oh, nice. What's that?
It's not
That's
a
a
bad
nice
fish.
fish, Dave.
Mike, not bad, huh?
Oh, that's beauty. It's good, except for it's too zip. Yeah, we should try.
Over
this
black
one.
or white?
Black, white beach. We'll take a few casts at white beach, and we'll look at the shore, see if there's anything on the shore itself. And